Hey, welcome to Let's Go. Today's title is Poo Poo. Yeah. So, you ready? Let's go. All right, now, you're probably saying, Steve, that's a really silly title. I agree. But here's the reason why. Philippians chapter 3 says, I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, Yeshua Messiah, for whom I have suffered loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ. Now, he says, I count all things as dung. Poo poo. Now, have you ever fallen in love before? Or even just had a crush on somebody. Now, don't look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. You know those times whenever you just fall in love, or you see that one person that you think, well, oh, they're cute, or boy, she's hot. Those type of situations. We've all had those times before where we fall in love, at least we think it's love, and it makes us do the silliest things. When you're in love or puppy love, crush on somebody, you just do things that you don't normally do. You write love songs, you write poems about the person, you're thinking about them all the time. Even though, you're not with them, you're thinking about them all the time. And then when you're with them, you get nervous because you don't know what to do, because you're so excited, because all the time once you're not with them, all you're doing is thinking about being with them. Then all of a sudden when you're with them, you get nervous. And it's like maybe you're in public school. Maybe all of a sudden if you got your eye on this one person, and they walk on this way between these hours, and you're going to walk this way. So you change your whole course of going to class because you think you might just have that opportunity to see them. Oh, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. You know how it is when you've got that crush on somebody, you just want to see them in hopes that they will notice you, right? Now, and not only that, maybe you get to call them. You call them on the phone, and then even though you're with them on the phone, there's not much being said. And you don't know what to say, but you don't want to hang up. And so there's lots of awkward silence. And you don't want it to be awkward, but at the same time, it's awkward. And then there comes that time when you got to hang up. And then you go, well, I guess I got to go. Yeah, me too. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. And then you're holding on to see if they're going to hang up first. And then you don't hear them hang up. And so you go, are you still there? Me too. Okay, can we get real here? Do me a favor. Take your two hands. Put them in front of you. You can do it. It's not that hard, all right? Put your hands in front of you. Cup them like this. And start putting all the things in your life inside your hands. Meaning, just use your imagination. What do you see in your life? All the things that you hold precious in your life. Things that define your life. Okay? Now, the book of Luke tells us, Luke chapter 9, verse 23, he said to them all, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will save it. What good is it for a man to gain the whole world, yet lose or forfeit his very self? Now, verse 25 says again, what good is it for a man to gain the whole world, yet lose or forfeit his very self? Okay, now, in your hands. What's in your hands? What's in your life that you're holding on to so tightly that you feel you can't do without? There are things in this world that are not worth it. In fact, I'll tell you right now, nothing in this world is worth holding on to for yourself, for your soul, for your life, for eternity. Okay. How tight are you holding on to the things in this life? The things that are in your life, the things that define your life. How tight are you holding on? Paul says, I count everything as dung. Everything that was in his life compared to knowing Yeshua, It's dung. Now, mind you, I'm talking about knowing Yeshua, having a personal relationship, walking with him every day, not just claiming him, not just because your family follows Torah or your family walks in Yeshua's way. No, I'm talking you. You having a personal relationship with him. Okay? Paul says, I count everything as dung compared to that. There's nothing in this world that can compare to that. Again, Philippians chapter 3, it says, I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus, Yeshua Messiah, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Christ. I can't think of anything less desirable than dung. And yet that's what Paul compares everything to as dung compared to knowing Yeshua, having that personal relationship. He considered everything as dung. Now, a modern day example, okay. People like to have the latest gadgets in this world, and we all do, okay. Cell phones, the modern cell phones, man, they do everything, right? So example, he considers the latest, greatest cell phone that's got the G4, G5, whatever the latest, greatest thing is now, and does this, it does that. These things are cool, right? But Paul says, that's dung. You take the latest, greatest of whatever, make it the fanciest, the best. It's dung. Compared to knowing Yeshua, it is dung. What are you holding on to? That it's like, and you're putting it over that relationship with Yeshua. Paul says, man, this is nothing. This world is nothing compared to having Yeshua in your life. And again, I'm talking a personal relationship with him. Look in your hands again. Look in your hands. What are you holding on to so tight? It's just dung. Paul says, compared to knowing Yeshua, a personal relationship with Yeshua, it's dung. What are you striving to hold on to? And again, it doesn't mean you can't have these things in your life, but it's putting them as a priority over your life, in your life, over Yeshua. It doesn't mean they're sin per se, but if you let them take precedence, priority over your walk, if you spend more time in those things, with those things, thinking about those things, than in your walk with Yeshua, shouldn't that raise a red flag for us? These are the things we have to ask ourselves. If you say, well, Steve, I have a personal relationship with Yeshua. I'm doing good in my walk with Yahweh. I'm doing great. Great. But how much closer can it be? Are we holding on to dung that could be preventing us from growing closer? Just something for us to think about. So, the question for all of us, are we willing to lay this stuff down? To gain life, to truly gain what is truly life. I mean, again, Luke 9. Then he said to them all, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So are we willing to set this stuff to the side, this stuff that can take precedence, and we don't even realize it's taking precedence in our life, but it creeps in. He doesn't want us to just clean our life out and have a boring life, have nothing there. No. He wants us to walk in his blessings. He wants us to walk and have our life so full of him. So full of him. Even Matthew chapter 7 talks about this. Which of you, if his sons asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will he give him a snake? If you, then who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? But here's the thing. The enemy wants to fill your life with things. Things. Anything but the word. Anything. It doesn't matter to him what it is. He wants to fill your life with anything but the Word. You see, there's a principle. Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a destiny. You see, the enemy wants to fill your life with anything and everything but the Word. Why? Because he knows the Word is likened unto a seed. So when you plant the seed in your life, what's going to come out? The Word. He does not want the Word coming to fruit in your life. So what's he going to do? He wants to fill everything in your life that is not the Word. And it doesn't mean those things are necessarily sin. Here's the thing. Hebrews chapter 12 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." Now here's the thing. It says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. That means there can be things in our life that is not necessarily sin, but it can still be hindering our walk. It can still be stunting our growth in Yahweh. He says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. That means there can be things in our life that we need to evaluate, because in reality, it's all dung. It's all dung. Poo Poo. We started off talking about falling in love and all the silly things you do when you fall in love, or just a crush. Maybe it's time for all of us to reevaluate the things in our life so we can truly fall in love with the maker of the universe once again. Because in reality, that's what it's all about. As we continue to grow in our walk with Yahweh, I encourage you, don't let a day go by that you don't evaluate something in your life. And when you do, take an honest look. Put it in those hands. Say, look, man, what am I holding? Because in reality, you're just holding on to Poo Poo. I know that sounds silly. I know. But in reality, that's what it is. We are holding on to things that in the scope of eternity, man, it's nothing. It is absolutely nothing but Poo Poo. Okay, well, that's all I have. So, think about it. Pray about it. But more than anything, be a doer of the word and not a hearer only. Until next time, shalom.